Bye, Nick, I say, eager to get the package upstairs. It isn't heavy, but it's awkward to carry. Stay out of trouble, he says in parting. Who? Us, Lizzie calls after him. We climb up the short flight of stairs to the first floor where we both live. Mom told me last week that a new family would soon be moving into the empty apartment at the end of the hall. I'm very curious to see who they will turn out to be. Circus performers? A minor league baseball player? Most kids would probably hope for more kids his age, but I don't care about that. Why would anyone need more than one good friend? Since my arms are full, Lizzie uses her copy of my apartment key and opens the door. I head straight into the kitchen and rest the box on the three-legged kitchen table, which is a big improvement over the two-legged one that my parents had to glue to the wall to keep it from tipping over. So, Lizzie asks, the familiar "let's do something bad" gleam in her eye. Are we going to open it? At the same time, we both lean closer to read the return address label. It's scuffed up and hard to make out. Fulgard and Levine Esquire, she reads. What does Esquire mean? Esquire means lawyers, I explain. I pride myself on knowing many obscure facts. It's all those midnight hours of reading. Why would a bunch of lawyers send something to your mom? I don't know. Maybe she robbed a bank, Lizzie suggests, and the evidence against her is in this box. Come on, I say. As you can tell by our apartment, Mom isn't interested in having fancy things. I watch Lizzie's eyes take in the curtains made from strings of beads, the tie-dyed sheet on the walls that hides a long crack, the collection of old black and white postcards all showing some breed of dog dressed in a tutu, the three-legged table. Okay, she says, so she didn't rob a bank. But hey, maybe she won something. Does she still enter all those crazy contests? I'm not sure, I answer hesitantly. Mom and I don't see each other that much anymore. She has her job at the library during the day, and then she takes art classes 3 nights a week at the school where my Aunt Judy, Mom's twin sister, teaches. My mom is also an identical twin, but unlike my dad and Uncle Arthur, she and Aunt Judy actually like each other. Lizzie asks, remember when your mom had to come up with a 10-word description for apple pie and she won a different pie every month for a year? Ah, yes. I remember the year of pies fondly. Pies are not as good as candy, but they are still better than anything else Mom has tried over the years to get me to eat. We made that final pie, rutabaga as I recall, last for weeks, taking only a bite at a time. This box doesn't look like it holds pies, though, or vacuum bags, or Florida oranges, or packets of Jell-O, or any of the other things Mom has won over the years by writing jingles or collecting box tops or labels from cans. I examine the box itself, thick cardboard with a single layer of clear packing tape running down the center. You know what this means, Lizzie asks, pointing to the tape? That we can lift off the tape without ruining the box, and then we can press the tape back down and my mother won't know the difference? Yep. Not gonna happen, I say, plopping down onto the one kitchen chair that Mom hasn't managed to turn into an art project yet. The others are either covered in a scratchy fake leopard fur or have bottle caps, the actual caps of bottles, not the candy, running up and down the legs and across the back. If you're afraid of that federal offense thing, Lizzie says, that's only for strangers' mail, I think. We will wait until my mom gets home, I say firmly. I expect her to continue the argument, but instead she just stands by the box, looking a bit too innocent. Gravely, I ask, Lizzie, did you do something? In a rush, she blurts, it's not my fault. The end of the tape just lifted up. I jump from the chair to see that she has peeled away a few inches of the tape from the side of the box facing her. I have to admit, it really had come up very smoothly. not ripping or taking the cardboard off with it. Okay, I say quickly, let's do it before I change my mind. So they got this box, right, addressed to their mom. They're not supposed to open it. It's addressed to her. The mailman reminded them of that. But clearly Lizzie is a little bit more mischievous than Jeremy Fink, and they're going to go ahead and peek at what's in the box. Lizzie claps her hands, and we set to work gently lifting the tape up from both ends. We eventually meet in the middle and lift the whole piece straight off. Lizzie drapes it over the top of a kitchen chair. I open the flower flaps, and we look in. I open the 4 flaps, and we look in, not flower flaps. At first, all we can see is a bunch of crumpled pieces of newspaper. For a brief moment, I think there's nothing else inside. I'm afraid to touch anything, but Lizzie apparently has no such qualms because she digs right in and pulls out balls of newspaper with both hands. She tosses them onto the table and is about to reach back in for the next layer when I stop her. Wait, I say, gathering the balls into a neat pile. We'll have to pack this back up later, exactly how we found it. I'm about to lay a wad of newspaper onto the pile when a headline catches my eye. I smooth the crumpled page out on the table, my heart quickening. I hold the page out to Lizzie and say, "Look at this article." She shakes her head. "You know I don't believe in reading the newspaper. Too depressing. Why would I start now?" "Just read it," I persist. "It's from the science section." She rolls her eyes and grabs the newspaper from me. "Scientists believe black holes might be the key to time travel." "So what?" she asks. "Just add it to your time travel file. Your mom won't notice one piece of newspaper missing." "I don't need to add it to my file," I tell her, taking the paper back and rolling it back up into a ball. "I already have it." "Huh?" "This newspaper is 5 years old." She grabs more pieces out of the box until she finds one with a date on it. With a sharp intake of breath, she says, "You're right. This page is from the week after." Lizzie's words trail off and she busies herself pulling more paper out of the box. I know what she's going to say. This paper is from the week after my father died. Silently, we pull out the rest of the newspaper until only 2 things are left in the box: a typed letter on business letterhead and a rectangular object the size of a shoebox, wrapped in tissue paper. We stare at each other wide-eyed. Lizzie starts to reach for the letter and then pulls back. Maybe you should do it." "But what if it's something my mom wouldn't want us to see?" "We've come this far," she says, and then she quickly adds, "But it's up to you." I wipe my sweating hands on my shorts, and as much as I don't want to admit it, I'm drawn in by the mysterious package. I can't help myself. I square my shoulders and carefully lift out the letter, trying not to wrinkle it. The address on the top is the same as the one on the return label. The letter, at least, is not 5 years old because it has yesterday's date on it. I read it out loud, trying to keep my voice steady. So here's the letter they found inside. "Dear Lainey, I hope this finds you well. I know I wasn't supposed to send it until later this summer, but we have shut down the Manhattan branch, and I didn't want to take the chance of misplacing it in the move to our Long Island office. Another reason to send it early, and you won't like this, I'm afraid, is that I seem to have misplaced the keys. I am fairly certain that you sent them along with the box to my office, and I have a vague recollection of hiding them somewhere quite clever. Alas, too clever, I'm sorry to say. The locksmith I visited explained that the locking mechanism on the box is an intricate system of levers and pulleys. Each of the 4 keyholes needs a different type of key, and an internal latch will prevent the box from being pried open. Figures Daniel wouldn't settle for a normal box with 1 keyhole like everyone else. I am certain you and Jeremy will figure it out before the time comes. I have nothing but fond memories of Daniel from our college days, and I was honored to do him the favor of holding on to this all these years. All my best wishes to you, Yours truly, Harold. Lizzie takes the letter from my hand and reads it over to herself. What does this mean? She says quietly. Lizzie rarely says anything quietly, so I know she's as surprised as I am. I don't trust myself to speak, so I just shake my head. I can't recall my father mentioning a college buddy named Harold, although admittedly I tuned out whenever my parents started reminiscing about the old college days. But this Harold person must have known them pretty well, since he called my mom Lainey, which only her close friends do. So my mother sent this package to him and told him to send it back in 5 years? Why would she do that? And what does he mean about doing a favor for my dad? Before I can stop myself, I reach in and lift the wrapped object out of the box. The tissue paper slides off and falls on the floor. I am left holding a smooth wooden box with keyholes on 4 sides. A clear varnish makes the wood seem almost alive. The first thought that strikes me is how pretty it is. I had never thought that a wooden box could be pretty. Heck, I don't even think I've ever used the word pretty before. And if Lizzie ever asked, I'd deny using it now. Lizzie bends down to pick up the piece of tissue paper at my feet. She stands up slowly and says, Jeremy? I'm unable to take my eyes from the box in my hands. I shake it gently and hear some muffled objects shift and knock against each other. It can't weigh more than 2 pounds. You might want to turn that over, Lizzie says. I just keep shaking the box back and forth, mesmerized. She finally grabs it from my hands, flips it over, and hands it back. Staring up at me are the engraved words. The meaning of life for Jeremy Fink to open on his 13th birthday. I'd recognize my dad's handiwork anywhere. So that is the end of chapter 1. Chapter 2 is called The Explanation. And besides a 2-word response, I want you to also be thinking about what connections so far can you make with this book, Jeremy Fink and the Meaning of Life, to our book, The Key to Extraordinary. There are already some kind of clear connections in my mind, so I'm wondering what connections you can make. So in our Google Classroom, below this assignment, when you type your comment, you can give me a 2-word response, but I'm also looking for any connections you can come up with between Jeremy Fink and the Meaning of Life and The Key to Extraordinary. What are you seeing so far? Thanks, you guys. And in a second, you'll have a little special guest arrival. Thanks. Bye.
Hi, everyone. We miss you. Brooks, especially. Oh.
Let him see your face, Lyd.